Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. I just wanted to do a quick video since I moved and the dogs are barking upstairs. And hopefully, I'm getting used to this GoPro, so don't harass me too much on the comments below. I'm getting used to the GoPro and how I need to adjust it so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So with that, and without further ado, so I moved about 4 months back, and before we moved in, I had to, of course, bring the server equipment, the switches, all the networking over to the new place, and still have Spectrum here. I had Spectrum at the old place, but I also had AT&T as well. I wish I could get AT&T here because it was a solid service. Even when the power went out, it would still keep going. So what I did is I wanted to do it right this time around. Years ago when I did the, the wiring in my old house, I didn't do it right. I mean, I did it the quick way. You could call it the poor man's standard of things. And as you can see up here, I did the wire as cleanly as possible this time around. But in my old rack, I had all these terminated with RJ45 ends on them. So I would just plug them directly into the switch. And if you guys go back to my old video about doing the new server rack, I think it was 2017. I'll try to put it up here in the corner. I had these terminated and I just brought them into this raceway area and then brought them in and kind of weaved them into the switch. What a pain in the butt that was to get all undone. So still rocking the SG200 26 port PoE switch. That's been a great switch. I've had it for 6 years. Works well. And did a legit patch panel. Of course, when you put something in like this, you got to do it right. You can't just, do it the wrong way. So I wanted to do it the right way this time. Because, when I go to sell the house in the future, this is going to be kind of nice for the future owners as well, because they'll be able to put all their cable modem stuff here and be able to plug in here and have their router or however, or maybe somebody like me moves into the house and utilizes it similar to how I'm doing this. Yeah, and then I used the Monoprice patch panel cables. These are only 1 foot. These are 3 foot. So that's why I'm using a different color here, is because these are 3 foot and they needed to come over here. So I didn't have, these weren't stretching enough to get over here. But these other ones I could use because I just went through basically and took up the slack and put them behind here so it looks nice and clean. This is the connection to the firewall down here, and I still got a little bit of cleaning up to do. I needed to get it done so that I could, just get it operational and working for what I needed it to do. And that one's coming into the LAN port here on the firewall. Now, as you guys saw in my last ones, I believe when I did the server rack, I had these in the server rack for the 2017 tour. It was at my old house. And then I decided to decommission this because my power bill is just, I don't need this thing sucking down a lot of juice and doing the same thing that this little box that takes like 30 watts can do. This is a really neat firewall box, little firewall appliance. And I bought this on Amazon. It was at one time $349, but since all the electronics and computer parts and everything have soared, this was $40 more, so it was $389. But I still think it's well worth it. It has AES-NI, so this is a pretty neat little box for a firewall. I'm running pfSense on here. I was actually running pfSense. I wasn't running WatchGuard. I do not like WatchGuard. But I took this and I actually converted it to a PF Sense, and it worked great for years. Bought this on eBay. I think it was for $100. And then a friend of mine, he helped me do some tech stuff, so I ended up giving him my second one. I had two of these that I converted to PF Sense, and they had the compact flash in there, but after a while the compact flash gave out, so I just put a regular drive in there because it's got a SATA port in there, so I just put a regular SSD, and it worked flawlessly for years. But now I'm down to this one, and that's really all I need. You know, I've got the main internet connection coming in here into the WAN port, and then Opt1 is actually this cradle point back there. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. I really hope it's getting a good picture. But yes, this is, I'll come back here. This is the cradle point LTE that Spectrum is announcing for backup. But this, my internet has gone out at least once here, and my firewall, you know, rolled over to this. They couldn't, this is the goofy thing about Spectrum, right? So I have all this crap here. In order to get a discount, you've got to have their telephone system service. Well, I'll tell you, no telephone. This is just sitting here idle. Maybe I'll hook a telephone to it. I don't know. And then you have their newest cable modem right here. But you cannot have static IPs without this stupid box. And this is the dumbest design I've ever seen. AT&T, I had static IPs with. I didn't have to have a separate box. So when I asked them, I said, this is ridiculous, you know. That's their engineers, I guess. But it's still fast. It's still reliable. It's still fast. But I think it's just ridiculous to add another piece of equipment. Luckily, I don't have to pay rent on it. But the cradle point, it was supposed to hook, this was supposed to hook into that cradle point. The cradle point then supposed to hook into here, and then this will provide the service. And it's supposed to provide, from my understanding, how it's supposed to work is it's supposed to, if this goes out, it's supposed to maintain your IP addresses in this box. Even though you set the actual IP address in your firewall, it knows that, and then it's supposed to be able to answer on that same IP address utilizing the LTE backup, but it doesn't work that way at all. So that's why I have actually got it hooked into the Opt1. It is what it is. I might actually get rid of that and go with a Starlink. But you know, the same thing. They're both GC natted, so CG natted, carrier grade natted. So I don't know. Take it or leave it. I wish I had AT&T here because I would have an AT&T box next to this, and then I would just do a dynamic on the Spectrum and do a static on the AT&T. But it is what it is. And then I really like the CPS 1215 RMSs for power distribution. The reason I like them is because it's got power ports in the back, and they're wide, so they're not just stacked next to each other like this. They actually are spread out, so you can plug in adapters and stuff. I don't know if you guys see that. And plug in those adapters and everything without having a problem getting other things plugged in. I also like that it has power ports on the front side of the rack too. So if I need to bring my laptop over here and it say has a dead battery, I can plug my adapter right in there, no problem. Or if I need to plug anything else in, I can. So it works out well. I have a 97% whole house generator. And I also have a battery backup that I bought off Amazon. It's only a 450 VA. It'll power this rack before the generator switches over. And it'll keep everything powered up, so I don't have to worry about that. Put a plug in here. I didn't do my offsets properly on this conduit. Eventually, I will take all this back out and redo that, so I have my offsets. But But like anything, you're trying to get them done as quickly as possible, and just get that rolled out. Then I got a fiber optic here, 10 gig fiber optic. So when I go to upgrade, I'm already all set, but it's only running 1 gigabit Ethernet over this 10 gig. But it's what is it, SC to SC? I can't remember. I'm not a big fiber guy, so I don't know a lot about the fiber, but it's nice that these are actually backwards compatible, so you can use them for 1 gigabit. So when I'm ready to switch to a 10 gigabit switch with the 10 gig SFP, I can do that. So house actually was wired Ethernet for Ethernet already. It had a switch in here, it had a PoE TrendNet switch. That's actually the gray stuff that's coming down as original to the house, and I actually reused it. Goes into our living room. Also, that green line that's coming down goes all the way to the attic and over to a Ubiquiti access point. So I just used the same area to run this through, and then eventually this will go to our camera system. So haven't done anything with that yet, still in the box. So just try to keep it clean and consistent is what I try to do. And I actually put in new fluorescent lights down here because we had the old pull chain, really dim incandescent lights that really made this basement feel very eerie. And so the fiber comes down through here. This is the back of the server rack. I'll show you guys the front of it in a second here. Just I got two HP ProLiant G8 360 servers running there. Got two host bus controllers running in redundancy. Redundant Ethernet for 2 different VLANs. And got the data storage down there, data store. A couple more of these CPS 1215 RMS distribution blocks. It makes it easier to, so you don't have to run power everywhere, like I did in my last one where I had the old compact rack that had the power distribution blocks on each side. I don't have another side to this, so I mean, I guess it works out fine. I guess it really doesn't matter anyways, but unless it was like in an area where people are at, then yeah, you definitely want to have the side on here and then it locked down, but not going to worry about that. vMotion redundancy here as well. 10, that is truly 10 gigabit. So that works out pretty well on the vMotion as well for switching computer resources. And then I'll take you guys over to the front of here, and we've got the two I still call them compacts. They're HP ProLiant 360 Generation 8. And then I got a Dell PowerVault 3220. Each one of those drives is 900 gigabyte, I don't know, gigabits, network and storage. And then down there is a .hill / Seagate / NetScout. I still can't figure out who actually manufactured that one. Picked that up on eBay for like $500 including ship. Brand new in the box. It was never opened. Brand new in the box. Works well. And had it for about a year now. I've had that Dell. I've had the Dell and the two compact or HPs for, I think I bought those just before Christmas of 2018. And I switched, as you guys remember with my rack, I had two custom build machines, and they were great for a while, but they just did not have enough computing power like I really needed, and I wanted shared storage so I could move virtual machines, either the first server or the second server quickly. That was not the case with my other setup because I did not have shared storage, so I would have to move the machines along with the storage to another machine to make it work, and it just took forever and it just was not worth it. So this is the setup I have now. I don't plan on increasing anything like putting in another server or putting in more storage. Pretty good from where I'm at right now. I don't plan on doing anything more with this. I might start doing the Raspberry Pi clusters. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Just kind of doing my job, and then, you know, at the end of the day, I focus my efforts on other things, like family and friends and things like that. I used to work too much, and stress set in, and now I just try to do as many fun things as work things that I can. You know, it's just, I don't know. From my last video anyways, I think I was real stressed out. CyberPower, I replaced those last year as well. And the reason I replaced those was to the fact that that APC UPS that I had that was a 2200, I was just rocking one 2200. Now these are each 2200. Is I didn't have a whole house generator, so I needed these to be able to power this as long as I possibly could. So I think I could get 30 minutes with those both powering. So, you know, everything that has a redundant power supply is one side is plugged into one power battery backup, and then the other side is plugged in the other one. And then all these ones that are just single are, you know, balanced out as the best to my ability to balance them out anyways. But, you know, sometimes that just doesn't happen the way you want it to. But yeah, and I also got this rack. I actually got this rack a year ago. And it's a really good rack. It's a compact. It was manufactured in 2000, so it's actually a year younger than the rack I had this stuff in previously. I also did these conduits right here to bring in 30 amps per battery backup, even though I'm not even close to utilizing 30 amps out of each plug. But that's what these battery backups call for, is the twist lock plugs. And so we put those in, and I ran the cable all the way down through there and then into the other circuit panel, and I'll show you guys that in a second. I also got coax running in here. I've got an antenna on the top of the house for over-the-air recording. I've got an HD home run in there. You know, I don't use it very often, but, you know, it's still pretty cool to have. And that's why you see two coaxes here. One goes out to the antenna, one goes to the actual internet service. This is Spectrum coming in here. So this is the generator right here. And like I was saying, 97% of the house is powered off this side of things, where, you know, we have another panel over here. Of course, you can't, you know, power your range using this type of generator, but this 70 amp circuit goes into this 100 amp panel, so it's kind of underrated. But, you know, I'm not utilizing up to 100 amps on here. My power bill would be nuts, but I put in one side of the servers and then the other side. So I have two 30 amp circuits in here, and these are all square D. So those are pretty, these are pretty reliable circuit panels. And then this is a Cutler Hammer, or Eaton that they call them now. This was replaced probably a couple years before we bought the house, and this was added. I've got a Kohler generator outside. You've probably seen it when I've been mowing the lawn in some of my videos. And that generator does a great job. Really does. We've done a load test on it with the servers running, the AC running, refrigerator, everything running that's in this panel. Just kind of a normal thing, and it doesn't even phase it. So the range, and then the dishwasher, which I don't understand, and then the laundry, which is only running 110, should be able to be in here. So I wish I had two more knockouts. See, this is for the 18 circuit model of this transfer switch, and that would be perfect, because I could put you know, put this and this in you know, here and here, and then I would have the whole house, other than the range. But when you're, you know, you don't have any power, you can definitely, you know, cook outside or whatever you want to do. So anyways, for another episode, ladies and gents, appreciate you joining me, and hope you guys are having a great Labor Day weekend. Bye for now.